What's up everybody, Teancum here with Sew Yeah Quilting. In today's tutorial, I'm going to show you how you make this Star Bright quilt using 12-inch square blocks. Let's get started. So as always, we're going to dive right on into the cutting instructions. But as you can see behind me, it's just 4 different colors or prints. You can do this however you want. It's a very, very simple quilt to do. We went with the shadow plays here, so I've got shadow play orange, yellow, and blue, and then this baby safari print that we really like. So as you can see in front of me, I've already gone ahead and pre-cut down my, let me fold these all back out so you can see them, squares. Now, these squares are 12 by 12. Perfect squares here, nothing crazy. And what we're going to do is I'm going to take one of my blues and one of my blacks here, and I'm going to put them right sides together. And as most everyone's familiar with is, we're just going to be doing half square triangles. So I need a ruler first, if I can find one. Found it. And I've got a Frixion pen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark it corner to corner on a diagonal here. Hopefully my pen still has ink. Perfect. So I've marked my green line there. And I'm going to do that to all of my squares. So I'm going to attach a yellow and an orange together, blacks and blues, yellows and blues, and that is it. So I'm going to do one more just to make sure everyone's on the same page here. I'm going to take my yellow here, I'm going to take a blue, line them up right sides together. Again, just using a ruler all the way across, corner to corner. And just like that. Now it's time to sew our seams here. What we're going to do, I'm going to show this in the top camera, is we're going to sew a 1/4 inch line or a 1/4 inch seam on both sides of our line. So over to my sewing machine, and we're going to sew that now. Got my first one done. Move on to another one. Now, not everyone's going to know this, but I love quilts like this, where you take a normal traditional block and just make it huge. I absolutely love it. So our next step is we're going to cut on the line that we marked, the green line in this case. I'm going to slide this out of the way. I'm one of the guys that I like to use a rotary cutter instead of scissors. You can definitely do this with a pair of scissors, but I can't cut straight. That's just a known fact, so I prefer to use a ruler and the rotary cutter, which then gives us 2 equal halves. I'm going to do that to my other blocks. And then what I'll be doing next, once I have everything cut, is I'm going to iron everything super, super flat. Pull out a little bit of starch if you need it. Some best press, that's what I'll be using in this case. And make sure everything is super, super flat. So I'm going to do that right now, and then I'll be right back. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to square my block down just a hair, okay? I'm resting pretty good here, but what our block needs to be is 11 and a half squared. So I'm pretty square here. All I need to do is just trim off my tags here that I have. I'm going to just use my ruler here, get myself straight on this edge, and just square these guys up. I'm going to flip my whole block around, and I lucked out on this one, and my block ended up being square just by taking off these little tags. So now that I've got my blocks all the way prepped, squared, and pressed, it's time to assemble the quilt. Very easy quilt. The very first assembly, and you can do this however you want. Obviously, half square triangles can make a zillion different patterns out there. What we decided to do is put our 4 orange squares in the center with the yellows on the sides, and then we decided to add on the next rows and stuff like that. So we always like to stay in the rows, so that's how we did it. I'm going to show you what we've already done so you can see where we're at. So I've already got my center portion of my quilt done. So now it's time to add on the top row with my blocks. So I'm a very visual person, so I like to have everything laid out. So I'm going to lay this on my mat here and take my blocks and make sure I am correctly putting them in place. And I always like to, for instance in this case, I've got these yellow, almost like quarter stones. So that's the first piece I'm going to put in. I'll lay those down. Got my yellow there. Got my yellow there. Then I need some points, which just got to double check to make sure we're doing it the right direction. Which my black and my blue will go together here. Same on this side. And I'm going to pull this down so everyone can see what I'm talking about. So now it's time to sew these together. Right sides together, nothing crazy here. And again, visual person, so I like to lay it down and make sure I did that right. And that looks good. Now for the next side. And then once I complete my row, what I will do is iron everything out. That way I know everything's good. Now it's time to finish my middle seam here. And I'm going to move my quilt top now that I know how it's supposed to go. Now, like I said, iron all my seams right now. See, this is why I'm a visual person. I put my row on backwards. So I'm going to flip this around before I make that mistake. And I'm going to grab some pins just because I have them right here next to me. And I'm going to pin right on my seam, just like so. Now, on this part, take your time. The biggest thing that happens with half square triangles is that at the end of a project, people just rush into half square triangles, and then you get cut off points at the end. We do not want the cut off point, so we're going to just slow down for a second, make sure everything is right, and my seams are nesting properly together. Now, a little pro tip here for everyone. What I always do when I use pins is that I pin my seam about like 3/8 of an inch from the top. Everyone's gonna say, well, that's a little weird. Well, I do that so that when I use my 1/4 inch foot, I'll never hit my pin. I can just sew my straight line and then pull out my pins at the end. So a little tip there for you. Try it out, see if you like it. If you don't, that's fine. Leave a comment if you do like it. Now, if you use this pinning method, Remember, pull out your pins before you go over to the iron. And pull these pins out, put them back into the pincushion, and I'm going to iron my quilt. So after we finish ironing this out, our quilt top is complete. I love these projects. Like I said, I love quilt blocks that are traditional block, that you make them bigger, put vibrant colors in them, and it gives them a whole new look. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to take this across the building to our in-house long to have this quilt finished. If you've liked this video, hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. One quick alert/note: on Saturday nights at 6 p.m. and Tuesday night at 6 p.m. we do live videos. We call it the Newstash and the Destash. You're able to purchase fabrics for really good prices or see the newest, latest, and greatest, so don't forget to tune in to that. And as always, we're going to leave instructions on how to make this down in the description below. My name's Teancum, teaching you how to sew like a pro. We'll see you here next week at Sew Yeah Quilting.